Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the main news on Camnet TV. Here are the top stories making headlines. The EDGAR LUNGU PF function drags the Director of Public Prosecution to court. UPND youths in LUSAKA protest for being neglected by the party. Over 100 KCM retirees demand for their retirement benefits. In international news, DR Congo Electoral Commission faced with daunting challenges a week before elections. And in sports news, FIFA impressed with outcome of VAR kick-off meeting with FARS. My name is Sylvia Zulu. To join me with the details after this.
Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
And now the news in detail. The Zambia Institute of Environmental Health says the country should consider banning plastic usage. Institute President Kennedy Chishimba says plastics have proved a challenge to waste management due to the high cost of recycling and its non-biodegradable nature. Speaking on the sidelines of the 2023 Institute General Conference and Elective Assembly, Mr. Chishimba also called for scaling of environmental issues to all citizens.
Plastic has without doubt proved a challenge to Zambia's waste management sector. In Lusaka, for instance, the central business district and compounds around the city, plastic is visible at almost every site. Due to its non-biodegradable nature, the material has led to environmental pollution in disposal through burning and flooding, as it also blocks drainages. The Zambia Institute of Environmental Health has since proposed consideration to ban plastic usage in the country. Speaking on the sidelines of the Institute's annual general meeting and directive conference in Lusaka Thursday, Institute President Kennedy Chishimba says plastic has proved costly to environmental management in the country.
It would be a better option to do away with plastics, and I think that is being advocated even at global level. Do away with plastics and start using other alternatives, because plastic has actually been proven scientifically, and even just by physically seeing what is happening, it's unsightly. It cannot decompose.
Mr. Chishimba has also called for more effort to raise awareness on various aspects of environmental health to ensure that citizens live healthy lives.
And of course, what we need to do is that we scale it down. Everyone has to be aware of issues of climate change. Let's take it to the primary level, even from the nursery, primary, secondary, and of course even the tertiary levels, so that we have one common mind in trying to address some of these impacts. We also need to talk about issues to do with pollution control. We must minimize issues of disposing pollutants.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The European Union has granted Zambia 5.8 million euros to undertake the national land audit and technical assistance to land governance management systems in the country. The two projects are part of the larger program called European Governance Support, which aims to improve Zambia's business environment. European Union Ambassador to Zambia, Carolina Stasiak, emphasized that joint projects seek to provide essential data for future land governance reforms. She says the collaboration between the European Union and Zambia is critical for enhancing land administration. Minister of Lands Elijah Muchima says this project could not have come at a better time than now, when the government seeks to improve land governance. He says it will complement some of the activities in the land policy implementation plan that the ministry has started implementing, such as the review of the Lands Act and other related pieces of legislation. Here's a report.
Thursday, 14th December 2023, the government of the Republic of Zambia and the European Union launched 2 new projects to support Zambia's land governance and management systems. The 2 projects will cost 5.8 million euros. The National Land Audit Project attracts a grant of 3.2 million euros, while 2.3 million euros is for the technical assistance to Land Governance Management Systems project. The 2 projects are part of the larger program called European Governance Support, which aims to improve Zambia's business environment. European Union Ambassador to Zambia, Caroline Stasiak, emphasized that the joint projects seek to provide essential data for the future land governance reforms.
Modern and internationally recognized and inclusive legal framework, which we heard earlier, and a clear institutional setting is important to ensure equal treatment of all citizens, and particularly women and youth, with regard to access to land and to avoid any land-related conflicts and disputes. Promoting an efficient, coherent and transparent land administration will increase stability and security in land tenure and reduce transaction costs. This is crucial, as we have heard this morning, for potential investors and for local private sector, as land remains an important collateral in access to finance. And this will in turn contribute to a more efficient domestic revenue mobilization.
Minister of Lands Elijah Muchima says the project could not have come at any right time than now, when the government seeks to improve land administration in the country.
It is critical to address unauthorized land use changes that occur without proper environmental impact assessment. As government, we expect that a land audit will facilitate the creation of comprehensive roadmap for the audit's execution by providing a holistic and well-informed approach in land administration. The objective will be to develop a robust methodology for auditing land tenure and monitoring land use dynamics in these critical zones. Poor or ineffective land administration and mismanagement of land and natural resources lead to conflicts, mistrust, and degradation of environment. Land audit generates information that will facilitate informed decision-making for the government.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Over 100 Konkola Copper Mines 2019-2020 retirees have demanded that the KCM pays them their retirement benefits in totality and not an annuity. The group claims that it was engaged before a decision was made, only to pay them half of their retirement package and get the other half through an annuity system. In a walk-in interview with Camnet News, Group Chairperson Raphael Muvanga says the annuity amounts will make no positive impact on their lives, especially since the cost of living has gone up.
These are some of the over 100 ex-Konkola copper mine workers who retired between 2019 and 2020 and have not been paid their dues, despite government stating that their money has been released and all former KCM workers paid. The group suspects that their money has been stolen.
Information Minister barandiro ko bati twaliba pere mpia ifwe tamumona na kuno ku State House tabesa ko echo tabeshira pani twaliba pera ero babe ko tamwa bapera because nene alishoka tamwa bapera ati fonga twafunya mu budget ni shitwa bapera but ifo baisa tufumishe ifunde limbira tatuishi byati lifunde nomba ifire landa wa minister ne fire chita pa ground na fikusana before that ku State House twaire kuri provincial ministry ba matambo twali monene na bena twabera turekonka fife chifiro okukonkwa ba provincial minister twalika na bena mu office mia bo twalanshanya ba chitana instruct ba permanent secretary ba ugasinka somo barembere ni leta aba mushite ile yakuli ba Minister of Mines bali lembere jabale mbere ile leta bali kokwere ukwabuloko bati ile leta iwere twali search ta follow up ifo bene twayako again balembari follow up again twayako again balembari follow up wala bati mwala itwalira mwebene efe tuwasenderera yaleta tuwatwala tuwalipita mu ministries na ministries za government tete nkumemo ko bati ndero ndalamesho twachuulira pano tulina tuchula sana abana bali babwesha kuma colleges tatwakwata ndalamesha kubalipirira amabala natufirwa okulima kule twayikalira mu mabala nombe ndalamesha kwa twingashita mu fertilizer tatwakwata ponangu ni wanungwe kumbyuko twakwata enkongole bali twikatira ama title deeds yanganda na ama myoto kama white book. So if tule chitapiu kubuteko kwa twapapa to buteko butumfuile ko luse batulandire kuli abantu batupere ndalama Yesu shiria ifunde tadali ili akwe bati tukesa shitamanyu it is awe ili amanyu it is tapaba no walishiwa ifo tulefu abatupere fefine bale pela abanensu bonse pantu ishininda lama Yesu shitwachulila walidandati tatulefu omwana okupwa ama eza nono tatulefa kabola lama street kid tatulefaya nomba ifom tirefi abes 2019 na 2020 na ba mama street kid maule abana tabale umfa so tulefa mkatupangire ko budget muri yo in 1000 yo musumnishe.
They demand that their dues be paid in totality as opposed to annuities, which they say is making no impact in their lives, especially that the cost of living has gone up.
Pakuti ube mu life muri 2500 kwacha, which means na 200 kwacha per month ta kulafika iyo. Pantu ilani life ukala fola fe mpake mfwa. Ukufola lindini 150 kwacha nomba 150 kwacha nangu 200 kwacha per month bushe chachine nishi bakumfuiro luseti ukala fola life nangu balefo okwipa kuli depression folele po mukuba lintu yali ntwanikani bale folesha ntwani ni option nomba batwikatile ndala mashonse atiyo bale pingule fya kuchita. That's why the patule batu bushe milandu ndani nebona apangeshi milandu ndatabankaka ne mulanda bale muchusha busho umulanda bambya banensu n'abafwa banensu kuri depression mulanda wakwe bati takweta pa kubambi apeshe chefi apenga ndati na pa flat na lapo kana chimbindalama nkapuishe nganda bamwikatira le flat 200 chapuisha shani nganda.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Some United Party for National Development UPND youths in Lusaka's Kanyama Ward 13 have complained of being neglected by the party and the government's top leadership. They claim to have been sidelined from all job recruitments that have happened since the party formed the government. One of the concerned youths, Maxwell Tembo, says while in the opposition, they suffered to usher the party in office but regret that the struggle has continued under the watch of their leaders. More in the following report.
Lusaka's Kanyama Ward 13 youths are at it again, staging a mini protest at the ward office claiming neglect from their leaders. The aggrieved youths, who carried placards with different messages, say since the party formed government, employment opportunities have eluded them.
Employment kuno kuma youth kulibe ba president bale bashita create ma jobs kutia bwere ku background but peze kati ma leaders watu wali kumwamba kwa mashito ya bwere but background siyafika ma youth wonse sibasebenza bemuona hapa shamula wane ba president watu bechechi basebenza usiku na muzuba but bantu bao bamene banasanga kuti bawatandizire babasirira shemuna bane babasirira bale vingoma mwabasirira ba president sumbatandiza Maximuwe sumbatandiza wa president. Why? Because imwe ndimwe warinki between the party and the ruling party bali mu New Dawn na ise ba UPND ndiye rinki yatu ime kutirinkingira na government but kulibe ve muchita.
Speaking in separate interviews Thursday morning, the youths demanded for answers from their leaders regarding their plight.
Ma create job kuti bantu wakwanise kupase for my youth. So mwaicho tunafufuza tunapeza kuti kuzambia ami wezongelesa kuzendesi wezongelesa kuzafu wezongelesa kukanso wezongelesa but mayusi wako wadi setini kulibana ngenako lo umozi kulokanya makuno onse watebe matano onse tuvutika chabe
kapena vanatikana tifuna vatiuze within 24 hours kuti tifuna tizive pane chiriri chinavutika cha mayuthi vanarikwanda vanavutika ndife tifuna vatiuze within 24 hours kuti vatikanamo tizive pane dzaimirira naife nokuti kuti tikaferemo tabe sataniza viri vonse.
Kanyama Ward 13 Councillor Leonard Chero, however, says the party is doing its best to have its youths employed, adding that it is a continuous process.
But we have managed some of them and we are yet to employ others. But it's not a one-day job. For example, there was recruitment for Zambia Army. Those who qualified, they applied. Those who didn't qualify, they did not. But there are some who want to be a soldier, but they don't have qualification. But in short, we cannot neglect our youth. They will be employed one day, but not everyone.
Meanwhile, area Member of Parliament Moti Chinkuri has advised the youths to visit the office to present their concerns as opposed to rushing to the media. Mr. Chinkuri adds that some youths do not avail themselves whenever employment opportunities by government or the constituents are made available. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The United Party for National Development UPND member Vene Hachombwa has condemned the alleged awarding of a bid contract to a suspected Patriotic Front function member. Mr. Hachombwa says the suspected PF cadre is among the office bearers for the EDGAR LUNGU function and wonders how a government entity arrived at the decision. He was speaking during a press briefing Thursday afternoon.
22 contracts that RIA offered, is it Rural Identification Authority, offered to what they're calling 22 local contractors. We are calling for RIA to revisit that decision. RIA must revisit that decision. We are going to write to RIA board, CEO. We copied the Ministry of Energy, because we feel there's somebody who is appearing on this list. This is a list that Mr. Lungu, the office bearer for Mr. Lungu, EDGAR LUNGU, peer faction, who was amongst the people that were awarded this contract, and even spoke on camera, appreciating the new Dawn government for giving him a contract so that he can fund Mr. Lungu's campaign. This is a warning to the PF procurement officers in the system, everywhere you are, that Vene is watching, Vene is following, we are following all your moves. We know who you are giving business. If you are not giving an ordinary person, if you are not giving the members who fought for this thing, if you are not giving the church members, then we don't know who you are giving.
National Democratic Congress NDC Party National Spokesperson Emmanuel Malite has cautioned Savoy Imboila against masquerading as party president. Speaking at a press briefing in Lusaka Thursday afternoon, Mr. Malite says the party has no president until it goes to a convention, and therefore Ms. Imboila should stop carrying herself as the party leader. Mr. Malite has warned that Ms. Imboila risks facing legal action if she does not heed to the advice.
Of course, we've known our sister of her appetite for political relevance. She's got that appetite for political relevance. She can insult, she can do whatever that she wants to do. She has gone ahead in claiming that she's the NDC president. True. No. She's never been on NDC record. Carry this alone. There is no faction. She's now facing contempt proceedings in the Ndola High Court for carrying out herself as NDC president. The only name that only paper that she has to her name is an album called Chatel. Not a political party. And why we've been so lenient on her, because the matter is before court. We've only been allowed by the Registrar of Society to submit our returns. The rest, the Registrar of Society as advisors Until this matter is dissolved off court, that's when you can come and change office bearers. So whatever that our dear sister is doing, let her just continue protesting in her known name. Because for us responding this, she puts our party into a awkward position, and she's not the NDC president, period.
The Anti-Corruption Commission has seized a motor vehicle, Toyota Land Cruiser VX, which was in the custody of a renowned Zambian musician, Elton Mulenga, also known as Yomaps. ACC Head of Corporate Communications, Timothy Mono, says the seizure relates to investigations that the Commission is conducting relating to the possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime. Mr. Mono says the suspects are alleged to have acquired several properties, including the said motor vehicle, which was in Yomap's custody, but registered in another person's name. He says the Commission has since seized the vehicle and restricted other properties as they are deemed to be proceeds of crime. He was, however, quick to mention that Yomaps is not a subject of the investigations.
The Anti-Corruption Commission wishes to confirm that it has seized a motor vehicle, the Toyota Land Cruiser, a VX registration number BLC 2179, which was in the custody of Zambian renowned musician Elton Mulenga, aka Yomaps. Now, the seizure relates to investigations that the Anti-Corruption Commission has been conducting, which relates to possession of property reasonably suspected to be proceeds of crime. The suspects are alleged to have acquired several properties, including the said motor vehicle, which was in Yomap's custody, but it is registered in somebody else's name. The Commission has since seized the motor vehicle and restricted other properties as they are deemed to be proceeds of crime. I wish to advise members of the public that Yomaps is not a subject of these investigations. The Commission will ensure that it continues to carry out its mandate with objectivity, regardless of the social and political status or religious affiliation of individuals involved in investigations. Investigations in this matter are ongoing.
9 opposition Patriotic Front members of parliament who were allegedly expelled from the party by alleged party president Miles Sampa have sued Mr. Sampa and his Secretary General Morgan Ngunga and the Attorney General. The petitioners argue that Sampa's expulsion from the party in October invalidates his claim to the presidency, and therefore his appointment of Ngunga is now and void. The 9 Patriotic Front PF members of parliament are challenging the leadership of Miles Sampa as party president and Morgan Ngunga as Secretary General. In a petition filed before the Lusaka High Court, the 9 MPs contend that Sampa and Ngunga's position within the PF are procedure and irregular. The 9 MPs include Rona Chitotela, Nixon Chilangwa, Musonda Mpakata, Christopher Kangombe, Remember Mutale, Brian Mundubile, Stephen Kampyongo, Mulenga Fube, and Mutotwa Kafwaya. The opposition Patriotic Front Function Secretary General Raphael Nakachinda has dragged Director of Public Prosecutions Gilbert Piri to the Lusaka High Court seeking leave to commence a judicial review of the proceedings against his decision to refute to grant consent to privately prosecute Miles Sampa and Morgan Ngunga. Mr. Nakachinda is seeking, among other remedies, a declaration that the decision by the DPP to refuse him from privately prosecuting the duo is null and void. Details in the following report.
Courts continue to contend the legal fights which have rocked the opposition Patriotic Front with a resurgence of factions. In the latest development, Faction Secretary General Raphael Nakachinda has dragged the Director of Public Prosecution Gilbert Piri seeking leave to commence judicial review proceedings against the decision of the Director of Public Prosecution to refuse him consent to privately prosecute PF President Mayo Sampa and his Secretary General Morgan Ngona. This is in a matter in which Mr. Nakachinda is challenging the presidency of Mr. Sampa and the election of Mr. Ngona as Party Secretary General of the former ruling party. In an affidavit in support of ex parte summons for leave to commence judicial review proceedings filed before the Lusaka High Court, Mr. Nakachinda is seeking, among other reliefs, a declaration that the said decision of the DPP is now void. He also wants an order of certiorari to remove the High Court and quash the decision of the DPP. An order of certiorari is a formal order issued by a higher court, usually an appellant court, to a lower court or tribunal, instructing them to submit the entire record of a case for review. Mr. Nakachinda also wants an order of mandamus to oblige the DPP to reconsider its decision in accordance with the law. An order of mandamus is a judicial remedy in form of an order from a court to any government, subordinate court, corporation, or public authority to do some specific act which that body is obliged under the law to do. The Faction Secretary General submitted that the grounds on which the reliefs were being sought were based on illegality of Mr. Piri's decision not to grant him permission to privately prosecute Mr. Sampa and Mr. Ngona. Mr. Nakachinda also submits that the DPP failed to have regard for the public interest and administration of justice and acted for an improper purpose by concluding that civil and criminal matters cannot run concurrently. On Wednesday, 13 December 2023, Lusaka Magistrate Kigan Litia ruled that he could not overturn his decision to dismiss the matter and advised the PF to appeal to the Court of Appeal. This was after lawyer Jonas Zimba asked the court to refer the matter to the High Court for constitutional reference. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Former President Edgar Lungu has asked the Constitutional Court to grant him leave to file a petition during the Christmas vacation challenging Attorney General Mulilo Kabesha's decision to withdraw all his benefits as former head of state. In the affidavit in support of ex parte summons for leave to file a petition during the Christmas vacation filed in the Lusaka High Court, the former president tells the Constitutional Court that the matter is of extreme urgency as his fundamental human rights are being and have continued to be infringed upon. On October 30, 2023, Acting Secretary to Cabinet Dr. Oliver Kalabo informed Mr. Lungu that the government was with immediate effect withdrawing all his benefits following his announcement of returning to active politics.
President Edgar Lungu has requested the Constitutional Court to grant him authority to file a petition during the Christmas vacation challenging Attorney General Mulilo Kabesha's decision to withdraw all his benefits as former head of state. In a letter dated October 30, 2023, Acting Secretary to Cabinet Dr. Oliver Kalabo informed the former head of state that the government was with immediate effect withdrawing all his benefits following his announcement of returning to active politics. But in the affidavit in support of ex parte summons for leave to file a petition during the Christmas vacation filed in the Lusaka High Court, the former president tells the Constitutional Court that the matter is of urgency because his fundamental human rights have continued to be infringed upon. In the summons before the court, Mr. Lungu's advocates, the Kandoka Lukan Company, state that the former president is unhappy with the response from the Attorney General and intends to file a petition seeking amends in the High Court. The former head of state argues that in November 2023, his rights to freedom of expression, assembly, and association are not to be discriminated against on the basis of, among others, political opinion as protected and guaranteed in the Constitution were contravened when he was subjected to unconstitutional measures on account of information he shared to hold office in a political party. However, in responding to Mr. Lungu, Attorney General Mulilo Kabesha states that the decision by the state to withdraw Mr. Lungu's benefits was done within the confines of the law. But Mr. Lungu's lawyers argue that the former president returned to active politics on 28 October 2023 and the withdrawal of his benefits was not done within the confines of the law. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're still watching the main news on Camnet TV. We now take a face set of commercials. To join me with more news after the break.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, 4th close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RainGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll now continue with more news. The government says there is a need to capacitate local authorities by enhancing the technical and administrative expertise and competence if they are to effectively deliver services. Local Government and Rural Development Minister Gary Combo pledged that his ministry will facilitate this cause using the modernized infrastructure at the Institute. In handling over the infrastructure, German High Commissioner to Zambia, Annie Wegner-Michel, pledged more financial support to Zambia as she underscored the importance of collaboration between the two governments. The duo was speaking when he received the rehabilitated and expanded infrastructure at the Chalimbana Local Government Training Institute in Chongwe.
Government has officially received the rehabilitated and expanded infrastructure at Chalimbana Local Government Training Institute in Chongwe at a cost of about 10 million euros, grant from the German government. Local Government and Rural Development Minister Gary Combo, who was on hand to receive the infrastructure, says there's need to capacitate local authorities by enhancing their technical and administrative expertise and competency if they are to effectively and efficiently deliver services.
Over the years, the institution has gone and undergone several functional and structural reforms and now serves as a training wing of the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development with an expanded portfolio of training activities. As we continue this transformation agenda of this institute into a modern center, the need to improve the capacities of local authorities by enhancing the technical and administrative expertise and competences cannot be overemphasized.
The German government, who have supported the project, has pledged more support to the Zambian government.
This year actually holds special significance as KfW celebrate not only 75th anniversary as a worldwide operating promotional bank, but also 59 years of cooperation between Germany and Zambia. And I think, again, Chalimbana Local Governance Training Institute is truly an example of our cooperation, which could stand anywhere in the world, but I'm very happy it is here in Zambia. And let me close by saying, let us all continue to shaping the future.
Beyond today's important milestone, the German government, through its implementing agencies, KfW and GIZ, maintains its strong commitment to providing multifaceted support to local authorities in Zambia. A total of 60 million euros in grants through KfW and advisory support by the technical experts from GIZ have been allocated by my government to strengthen decentralization in Zambia.
Meanwhile, Chalimbana Local Government Training Institute Principal James Baipi and Chongwe District Commissioner Evans Lupia expressed gratitude for this modern infrastructure.
The training wing of the ministry, I would like to assure you, sir, that the new Chalimbana, which is being transformed into the Center of Excellence for Local Government Training, will continue to play a critical role, a strategic role, of supporting government in the smooth implementation of the decentralization policy by building human and institutional capacities of all local authorities in Zambia.
I wish to assure you, guests of honor, Your Excellency and all stakeholders present, that together with the Institute, we shall, with diligence, safeguard this infrastructure as it shall remain a piece of adornment for the district.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News in Chongwe District.
President Hakainde Hichilema has assured that he is ready to assent to the Access to Information Bill when it is presented to him following its approval by Parliament yesterday. President Hichilema said the government has pushed for the bill and made other legal reforms such as the removal of the death penalty and criminal defamation of the president to promote democracy in the country. The head of state has, however, urged the Zambian people to avoid abusing these rights and freedoms so as not to infringe on other people's rights and freedoms. President Hichilema said this when a team of the African Peer Review Mechanism, who are in the country for its second targeted peer review, and the official launch of the review paid a courtesy call on him at State House Thursday, 14th December 2023. In welcoming the team, the head of state said Africa needs to add value to its exports to change the narrative that the continent is merely a hub for raw materials when it has the potential to contribute more. Meanwhile, the leader of the African Peer Review Mechanism, Lydia Wanyoto Mutende, disclosed that Zambia is one of the first African countries to request a second targeted review on the country, which is a good indicator of its commitment towards improving governance. The government says it is committed to the development of farm blocks throughout the country. Ministry of Agriculture Permanent Secretary for Administration, Yvonne Mpundu, says the government has renewed its commitment to the development of farm blocks through financial and material resources which have been availed for the smooth implementation of the program. Speaking during a 3-day planning and review workshop on farm block development in Kabwe, Ms. Mpundu says agricultural productivity has continued to be threatened by inadequate infrastructure like roads, electricity, water dams, and bridges in high-potential agricultural areas such as farming blocks. Details in the following report.
The agricultural sector has continued to be a strategic area of focus by government in promoting economic growth, reducing poverty, and creating employment. And farm block development has been recognized as a vehicle that can help accelerate the contribution of agriculture to the country's gross domestic product (GDP). Minister of Agriculture Permanent Secretary for Administration Yvonne Mpundu had this to say.
Agriculture production and productivity has continued to be threatened by inadequate infrastructure like roads, electricity, dams, and bridges in high potential agricultural areas such as farming blocks.
The Permanent Secretary also expressed happiness with the renewed financial and technical support coming from central government and other bilateral partners.
The Ministry greatly appreciates the financial and technical support we continue to receive from central government, such as the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the Food and Agriculture Organization, and other cooperative partners.
Meanwhile, Central Province Permanent Secretary Milna Mwana Kampwe says government has placed a premium on agriculture.
Farm block development, we are all aware that by and large, like Konansang, it started more than 15 years ago. But the real activities, you're only seeing them for the past 2 years when His Excellency Mr. President Hakainde Hichilema has been in office. And this shows you of how much of a high premium he has placed on agriculture and all other sectors that will drive the economy of this great republic. Mr. President has deliberately decided that the farming sector must be taken as a business. We need to put our heads together and see how we can run at a hypersonic speed. All of us, our officers, they must be up and running. Vehicles have been procured, monies have been sent to the provinces, when previously monies were being kept at ministries. Exactly. But now, deliberately yourselves, you have decided that money must come to the provinces, because that's where work is. Absolutely. And that is as it should be.
Reporting for NICE in Kabwe, Central Province, I'm Clement Kachali.
We now take our last set of commercials. Do join me with the rest of the news after the break. Stay tuned.
What if I never knew? What if I never found you? I never have this feeling in my heart.
Are you planning to marry or get married? Contact the Camnet media team for a professional capturing of your big day in life. Let your relatives, friends, and the nation join you in celebrating your big day on television. Just at a manageable fee, Camnet Television will cover and transmit your wedding on your channel of choice. Contact the marketing department on mobile number. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
I give my love to having home.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. And now, in international news, nervousness and difficulties are mounting ahead of the December 20 elections in DR Congo, as conflict ranges in the east and fears of fraud linger following the disputed 2018 elections. Eric Nsega sounds the alarm. Nsega, who heads the observer mission of the ECC, says the country is headed for a fragile electoral context with feelings of frustration for part of the 2018 elections and challenges for others with regard to the 2023 elections, and believes that the political elite has not taken that into account. The ECC is a union of 62 Protestant denominations in the DRC. All the major opposition presidential candidates have urged vigilance. The opposition has long accused the government of stacking the Electoral Commission as well as the Constitutional Court, the final arbiter of the electoral disputes. Here's a roundup of international news.
Nervousness and difficulties are mounting ahead of the December 20 elections in DR Congo, as conflict rages in the east and fears of fraud linger following the disputed 2018 elections. Eric Nsenga is worried. We are headed for a fragile electoral context, with feelings of frustration for some regarding the 2018 elections and challenges for others with regard to the 2023 elections. I believe the political elite has not taken that into account. The national coordinator of the observer mission of the ECC, a union of Protestant denominations in the DRC, also points to logistical challenges. We are in a country where there are power outages all the time. Have they already come up with solutions? Are the batteries charged? With 7 days to go to election, a lot of things are yet to be clarified. Then you have to add the problems of electoral mapping. You know that up to today we still do not have downloadable mapping, whereas mapping helps locate the centers and polling stations with physical addresses. Staging elections is a daunting challenge in a country roughly the size of continental Western Europe, which suffers from a lack of key infrastructure. Nsanga also fears authorities haven't anticipated a scenario of disputed polls. There are 100,000 candidates running in the presidential, legislative, provincial and local elections. Still, the deadline has not changed. The institutions have not changed. The human resources remain the same. Have we imagined the litigation scenarios? What if there were challenges to the results? The judges, the courts, would be overwhelmed. The Electoral Commission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, CENI, is racing to dispatch voting machines across the country. It has reportedly sought the help of the UN mission. South Africa's presidency announced on Wednesday that President Cyril Ramaphosa will appeal a court decision to set aside his official recognition of King Misuzulu Kazwelithini as the king of the Zulu nation. The North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria ruled on Monday that Ramaphosa had failed to follow due process in terms of the Leadership Act of 2019 when he failed to institute an investigating panel when a dispute over the throne arose. King Misuzulu ascended to the Zulu throne following the death in 2021 of his father and that of his mother, who was the regent. However, his traditional coronation was delayed by 15 months following bitter feuding over the royal succession. President Ramaphosa officially handed him a certificate of recognition in October last year. The Pretoria court has ordered the president to appoint an investigating committee comprising experts on royal Zulu matters to determine the rightful heir to the throne.
On Wednesday in Niamey, the United States announced their readiness to resume cooperation with Niger on the condition that the military regime that came to power at the end of July in a coup commits to a notable brief transition. Washington suspended its cooperation with Niger after the July 26 coup that overthrew the elected president Mohamed Bazoum. During a visit to Niamey since Tuesday, the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State for African Affairs held discussions with several Nigerian officials, including the Prime Minister appointed by the military, Ali Mohamed Lamine Zain. She emphasized that Nigerian military power must announce a deadline for a rapid and credible transition leading to a democratically elected government. The military proposes a maximum 3-year transition period before returning power to civilians, with its duration determined by a national dialogue that will be convened immediately. Since the coup that ousted him, Mohamed Bazoum has been confined to his residence with his wife and son. Several former deputies have been arrested or fled the country.
And in sports news, video assistant referee VAR implementation project lead Dick Slema is impressed by Zambia's commitment towards the implementation of VAR in the Zambian Premier League. Slema was speaking at the closing ceremony of the VAR consultative workshop at Southern Sun Hotel in Lusaka. He says he realizes that VAR is not easy to implement, but that the Zambian team has showed a lot of positive strides in their quest to implement VAR. Meanwhile, Football Association of Zambia, FAZ President Andrew Kamanga, says the association is happy to have received high-level team to help them set the ground for VAR. He says the association does not want to be left behind and will do everything possible to implement VAR. Earlier, VAR project FAZ President Andrew Kamanga are making steady progress in trying to implement VAR.
As you are aware, Mr. President, as at now we only have ladies who are certified as VAR referees as well as field referees. But with the gentlemen, we still have some homework to do, which we need to plan quickly and make sure that we have a number of them being certified as VAR. It's good that we had this kickoff meeting in good time.
VAR is now the buzzword of the global football, and we are determined not to remain behind as Zambia. And there is no better time to fast-track the process than now. We are happy, therefore, that Mr. Skazwe continues to play a role beyond retiring, and this is why he is now heading the VAR project on our behalf in Zambia. Apart from Mr. Skazwe, we also have other match officials that have already had the experience of VAR, including Ms. Diana Chikotesha, who was at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup, where she was on the VAR panel. Others were part of the 2023 COSAFA Women's Championship, where we were also using VAR. We are therefore drawing on all these experts to actualize the implementation of VAR in Zambia. We are determined to build from all these steps which we've taken and ensure that Zambia becomes a model for other associations within the continent.
As Gianni and your chair already mentioned, I think it was a very good meeting that we have had. We have done already, Michael and myself, a lot of kickoff meetings, so we have a good comparison on how it was. We've been impressed by the engagement of the team, also the clarity in the things that were asked. Sometimes you realize already in questions how the connections work, and it was great. And I think the implementation of VAR is a big challenge, and there are a lot of things that we need to prepare. However, we leave this meeting with good confidence that we are on a good way, and the team, the spirit, the energy that is in this room is, I think, a very, very good foundation for a successful implementation.
That's it for our main news tonight, but before I go, here are the top stories making headlines. The EDGAR LUNGU PF function drags the Director of Public Prosecution to court. UPND youths in LUSAKA protest for being neglected by the party. Over 100 KCM retirees demand for their retirement benefits. In international news, DR Congo Electoral Commission faced with daunting challenges a week before elections. And in sports news, FIFA impressed with outcome of VAR kick-off meeting with FAZ. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Romans 14, verse 19. Let us therefore make every effort to do what leads to peace and to mutual enlightenment. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Good night and God bless you.